Okay guys, here we are with the Noveske NSR 13.5 inch. I'm in the process of doing a couple of builds. I wanted to take some time to talk to you about this rail. I am thoroughly impressed with this rail. Not only the attention to detail, but the millwork is just outstanding. Very, very impressed. Not only with its weight, but just I'll throw some close-ups. You can see some internal, I don't know if it's kind of ridges or support structure, but the millwork for the inside of these key mods, you'll see in some of the close-ups, just fantastic job they did with this thing. I am thoroughly impressed. The overall weight is 11.2 ounces. The rail itself is 7.9. Super lightweight rail. The majority of the weight is here in this barrel nut. Or I guess not the majority of it, but right at 4 ounces, 3 ounces with the double-ended barrel nut, and you got some mounting hardware, 6 Torx bits, and an anti-rotation pin. They did the double-ended barrel nut because some manufacturers, the timing of the threading is slightly different. And in order to get this timed so you can get your rail lined up, they slightly offset the threading. So depending on which way it gets on, you'll hand tighten it. And if this flat spot is at 12 o'clock, then that's the one you want. So when you go ahead and add some torque to it, you'll tighten it up to where the threaded, these screw holes are at 12, 3, 6, and 9 to accommodate your Torx bits to line up properly. But with this heavier our double-ended barrel nut, I would assume this also acts as a heat sink, pulling some of that weight or that heat out of your chamber. If you do a heavy volume of fire, I would assume that this rail probably gets heated up. Noveske offers quite a few different textured rail panels and that type of stuff. So if heat is maybe an issue, you're looking to dump just a shit ton of rounds through this thing, I don't know. It might get hot, but it may dissipate quickly. Couldn't tell you. But one of the nice things about this weight being back here at your lower receiver, it really seems to balance well. Like I said, the majority of your weight is still back here with your upper and lower. Very little weight from this point on. Even when you start adding stuff to it, like your rail panels or your grip or whatever, it really feels like with that lighter weight, when you transition from one target to another, you don't have that sway to where the weight of that momentum, when you're trying to stop, to where that momentum kind of pushes you a little bit further. So it really feels, once you start getting super lightweight, it really helps you control that muzzle from swinging from one target and stopping on a dime and putting rounds onto that target. So definitely can see this super lightweight rail as being a shooter for sure. I'll throw up some pictures of the installation on this one. Not difficult at all to do. It will require you to find a, I forget what the crow's foot, it's like 1 1/16 or something like that. I don't remember offhand. I found mine at a pawn shop, spent no money on it at all. Actually picked up the torque wrench at the same pawn shop years ago, and just went in and found the crow's foot for that. So go to a pawn shop. You can pick them up for pennies on the dollar. But with this, it does have a little hole back here in the back, and that's for an anti-rotation pin. Again, not difficult to do. If you've ever used any type of measuring device, scribes, a tape measure, a pencil, and a drill, you can figure that out. You know, obviously measure twice, drill once. Again, easy to do. You just gotta come to terms with the idea that you're drilling a hole in your upper receiver. But as you can see, the anti-rotation pin is very short. You'll want to keep that drill bit shallow. I actually took, I'll throw some pictures up, I took and scribed out, took a punch, started my drill, and then just went up from very small drill bits up to the size that I needed. So I just went up incrementally, and like I said, not a problem, very easy to do. You just have to come to terms with the fact that you're drilling a hole in your upper receiver. But then again, I don't know if it's necessary, because if you follow the instructions and torque this down to 40 plus pounds of pressure of torque, not to exceed 80 pounds, I don't know that there's any way that you are gonna, you know, loosen this by hand. Even with the most vigorous shooting and running around, rolling around, doing ninja jumps and stuff like that, I don't know that you're going to break that off. But they do offer an anti-rotation pin if you want to help that make you feel all warm and fuzzy inside. But Noveske does offer quite a bit of accessories for this system. It offers the 4-slot panels. I'll show you some close-ups of the way these little inserts, they unthread or unscrew to loosen out. And they have these circular cutouts in the back that interlock with the larger circle portion. So these circles, your inserts, will slip into these larger holes and then slide forward, and the larger circles will lock into place. So it goes forward, snaps into place, you'll tighten them up, and once it's tight, that thing's not going anywhere. These little inserts are also captured, so obviously you don't want to back them out real hard, because you will break out the place that it's punched. But for the most part, these things, you're not going to lose them. But they do offer a 4-slot, a 9-slot, and I've found that the 4-slot pretty much covers anything I'm looking to do. This Magpul AFG, as you can see, it's sitting right in the center of this thing. It locks on there solid. The only issue that I may have is with a sling maybe getting underneath there. But this setup isn't going to be set up as a battle rifle or anything like that. This is just going to be a hunting setup, so I'm not worried about slings getting caught up or whatever. But if that's something that bothers you, I'm sure you can throw another one of these on here or there, or get the larger 9-slot to take up the majority of that space. This is the second generation. The first generation is a little bit longer. So the second generation, you'll have less gap to fill. We also threw a 4-slot panel up here for a bipod if I ever want to throw one on. The bipod mount is considerably larger than the 4-slot, but 4-slot is pretty much all you need. I mean, that thing locks on there super tight. But you know, if you feel like you want to throw a larger one on there, that's an option. Noveske also has some quick detach sling mounts. And they've just released quite a few flashlight mounts. They'll be offset, so your flashlight will kind of sit up in this area. It's not you know, sitting right out on the side. It's offset, so it'll mount to these key mods, but sit, you know, right above, kind of in this channel right here. So again, super sleek. You know, getting it as tight to the rifle as possible. The mounts pretty much cover every flashlight out there. At that 0.8 inch, they do a 1-inch version and a 1.35 inch for your larger flashlights. They also do a scout mount for your Surefire scout lights. So Noveske has pretty much covered the bases with anything that you need. Also know quite a few other manufacturers have gone to this key mod system, so I don't know if there'll be an industry standard to where different manufacturers mounts or mods will attach to Noveske's or vice versa. I know Knight's Armament is offering this type of rail. Primary Weapon Systems is offering one. I think CMMG. Quite a few manufacturers have gotten on board with this because it is a fantastic design. Just really helps keep it super slim and you know, just super lightweight. Even some of your other rails out there that are doing this super slim, you know, this is slightly squared off. You know, one for these mounts to lock in, but I don't know if it makes them slimmer than some of the other ones out there. It does have a 1.5 inch width and a 2-inch height. I mean, as you can see, I mean, I have medium to large size hands, so you can see, I mean, it pretty much takes up. I mean, I can get just a fantastic purchase on the muzzle of this weapon. So very, very impressed with what Noveske has done here. One of the other things I did is weighed, and I came up with the total weight of 11.2 ounces with everything that you'll need to install this onto your gun. I just wondered where it stood with your standard mil-spec handguard. This is your standard composite. Has the heat shields on the inside. Weighed the delta ring, flat spring, barrel nut, a little capture deal, and the sheet metal cap that locks onto the front that butts up against your front sight-based gas block. And the total weight on that is 8.3 ounces. So 8.3 ounces for a plastic 7-inch mil-spec handguard, or 11.2 for a rail that is double the length and just has all the versatility and possibilities in the world. I thought a 2.9 ounce weight difference was pretty fucking spectacular. So very, very impressed. Again, if you also consider the front sight base gas block, if you're going to get rid of that thing and go down to a low profile gas block, you have eliminated that 2.9 ounce weight difference. So again, this guy is in the same ballpark as this guy, and you know, these are one of the lightest setups that you can get. Pretty much comes, you know, out of the box, just super lightweight. But this guy gets you right back there if you do it right. And also, this is the 13.5 inch. This pretty much covers full barrel length. This is a 14.5 inch 300 blackout, but your 16 inch, you know, is going to end right here. So you've got another 1.5 inches of barrel that you'll see. And you can get the 15.5 inch. I don't know if I said it, they make a 7 inch, a 9 inch, an 11 inch, 13.5 inch, 15.5 inch that will fit on your standard 16 inch gun. Pretty much comes right up to the muzzle device. And they're also doing a 16.5 inch to go on like an 18 inch barrel or a 20 inch if you're doing like a SPR type setup. So also too, wanted to say the 13.5 inch, this is at $265, and some of you guys may be thinking, oh man, 265 bucks, that's a lot of money. For quality of this level, that's a freaking steal. You are robbing them. They should really be charging more. Once you get a look at the attention to detail and just how freaking fantastic the millwork is on this thing. A lot of time and effort went into making this, and they're basically giving them away at $265. The price does vary depending on the length. I think the shorter ones are around $245, and the very longest of them are up in that $275, $280. So overall, I think $265 it is great, considering some of your no-name brands. I mean, this is a heavy weight. This is several ounces heavier than this, and this is a 7 inch. You know, that's without the barrel nut and everything. It's heavier. This guy, I believe when I bought it 2 or 3 years ago, this was right at 200 bucks. I know Daniel Defense has raised their prices. Some of their their rails are over the $400 mark now. So again, I believe $265 is a deal. As you can see, I snatched up 2 of them just as quick as I could. So there we have it. I hope I covered everything. The 4 slot panels pretty much get you through whatever you're looking to do. They also do, the 4 slot panels covers these RVG grips nicely, and once they're on there, I mean, there's really not like any weird interaction. If you wanted to put these on there and then throw some of Noveske's textured panels up next to it, I'm sure that would look fine too. I know a lot of guys like these, or like front hand grips. I'm going with this AFG just to see where it gets me. And alright, well, I hope you enjoyed, and thanks for watching.